Culture swap?
Swap my culture.
What are we doing next time, Jack?
Next week, listeners. Not next week. Next episode.
There's a fantastic segue you can do here.
I don't know what it is.
Who is in the thing that we're doing next that we just spent too much time discussing?
Got you.
Cool.
Next time, listeners, we are doing, and it's very poignant because we were just talking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and it's his favourite movie. That's not true. That's libel.
It might be. We don't know.
It was parody. And I will not be sued.
We do find out, in Central Intelligence, we find out what The Rock's, at least his character in that movie, what his favourite film is.
Star Wars?
I can't tell you. It'd be a spoiler.
Okay. But next time, listeners, we're doing much to my chagrin. Hopefully I'm using that word right.
Yeah, you are.
Much to Liam's pleasure.
Joy.
Just complete. I'm sure you can hear it in his voice, listener.
That bit first.
We are doing High School Musical.
Woo woo! That is going to be fantastic. So I highly encourage all of you listening, get watched, write in your thoughts, let us know. Let's have a discussion. It's High School Musical, guys.
Now the thing, listeners,
it's going to be brilliant.
The thing with writing in for this episode is that we're going to be recording this episode early. So if you do write in,
we can read it on the next one. We'll read it on the next one.
We'll have to read it on the episode after that.
But that's fine. Do you know what? I don't even care because I'm going to be posting on Twitter as soon as we finish recording.
Right,
next time, High School Musical. So
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So that's why it's good to follow us on Twitter if you're not doing that already at NerdOnNerd.
It's a shame that they're going to be getting this too late to go on Twitter to find the High School Musical tweet you're going to do.
That is true.
But yeah, so that's what we'll be doing, listeners.
So
every minute.
No, stop.
Because
I'm Jack.
I'm aware that I'm probably going to like it.
Look, just don't go in with any preconceptions.
Is that High School Musical?
No, it's not.
Is that Glee?
I have no idea what that is.
What is that from? Oh man, it's going to be something bad that I shouldn't know.
Probably like is it the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody or something?
That was a Disney Channel TV series, yes.
Jesus. Oh no, The Best of Both Worlds. Surely that's got to be something.
Oh, it's Hannah Montana.
Yeah, I was going to say it's got to be the Miley Cyrus one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I've just before we get onto the culture swap that we're doing this week, I need to ask a couple of questions about what we're doing next time, which is High School Musical. What do you currently know about the film?
I know it's set in high school.
Okay.
It's a musical.
Yeah. The clue for those two are in the title.
Yep.
Zac Efron's in it.
Yep.
Do you know anything else?
That girl's in it.
Vanessa Hudgens.
Yep.
Ashley Tisdale.
No, I think Vanessa Hudgens was what I was thinking of.
Cool. So, right, do you mind sharing with our listeners how old you are at this point in your life?
24.
Okay. And I guess High School Musical came out, 10 or so years ago now?
September 22nd, 2006.
So, 10 years ago-ish. Just under. Yeah?
Yep.
Is there any reason why you've gone just under 10 years without watching this fine movie?
Yes.
Which is?
Because I was 14 when it came out.
That's not going to what age we all were when it came out.
Yeah, exactly, because you were 18.
Doesn't mean I watched it when it came out, does it?
I don't think that makes it as good as... I think that makes it worse, Liam. Right, okay, so here's the legit answer to why I've not watched High School Musical.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's the same with a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Is I have a younger brother and sister.
You do?
Right?
Yes.
The age gap between me and my younger brother and sister is larger than, most people.
Okay.
I'm 6 years older than my brother and 8 years older than my sister.
So she particularly would have been perfect age for it, right?
Yeah, and she was.
Yep.
And she watched it, and she liked it.
Okay.
And I, being a 14-year-old...
Yes.
...was like, there's no fucking way that I'm going to sit with my little sister and watch High School Musical.
Yeah, spending time with my siblings. Imagine doing that.
At 14, yeah, 100%. As someone that doesn't have siblings, you don't get to say that.
I had a dog that I watched movies with.
Well, that's just depressing.
He was my best friend.
Now, me and my brother and sister, I like both of them. They're great people. I love hanging out with them.
Yeah.
But back then, no.
So here's the thing. How good would it be if you watched this movie, liked it, and then the next time you speak to your sister, you can kind of connect on a whole new level?
Now, I know my sister. And I don't think I think she's probably grown out of High School Musical by now.
Impossible. Like, you can... No. All right. I think you're wrong, but not 100% wrong. So I think, if I'm doing the math right in my head, and what I think her age currently is, I think, as you're growing up, we all go through this period, right, where we try to like grow up and grow out of the stuff we was into, and we try and shun it, and then eventually it comes back around. Like I'd say you get to like your early 20s, your mid 20s, and you start getting nostalgic for those things from your childhood, and you start. Did you ever just not grow out of it though?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever grown out of anything.
Yeah, I think, you know, like for me, for example, with music, I went through a phase where I was like, oh, pop music, it's awful, get it away from me, icky. But then, what was my favourite club at uni, Jack?
Babylon.
Which is the one that was playing all the pop music that when I was a teenager, I was trying to run away from.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I do think it is genuinely a thing that people go through. So
just from knowing my sister...
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't want to take this away from you, but I do know her better than you.
I mean, I don't know her at all.
Exactly.
You've literally never let me meet your family for some reason.
You live in Portsmouth. You can meet my family if you goddamn want.
Bring them down. They can come to the barbecue.
Exactly,
it's fine.
That's the issue. I'm not fucking bringing them to Portsmouth. You'd have to travel up here, which you don't do.
No, that's true.
But, yeah, I don't know. My sister's she's not a fan of movies, usually.
Okay.
Although recently she's been getting into horror films, so...
That's good. Something. That's a good start.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if she was like, I don't like High School Musical, I wouldn't be like, you're just going through a phase.
No, you don't say that to her. You wait.
I'm going to.
You wait until she's like early 20s and then be like, so, still don't like High School Musical? And she'll be like, oh, you got me. It's brilliant. Because it is.
Sure.
Anyway, so if we were to watch it together, which I definitely think we should do, and potentially film, just trying to think if we could get away with that. I'd like to film your reaction to it.
We wouldn't be able to get away with it. There's too much difficult stuff there.
Yeah, I'm more thinking you'd have the copyright issue if you had the film playing in the background, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, alright, we won't film it, but I want to watch it with you because I want to see your live reaction to it.
That's fine. Get it sorted for you've got the DVD?
Yeah, I've got it. Of course I have. So
if I come down to you tomorrow, Liam.
Yes.
I'll watch it with you tomorrow.
Fantastic. I've got this special locker edition, so I can kind of lock all my secrets away with the movie.
That's depressing.
It actually has a little key and lock, and so at the time, High School Musical 3 hadn't come out when I got this, but it has High School Musical 1 and 2 and the live show in it, and the good thing is there was space for me to put High School Musical 3 inside as well, so I did.
I'm suddenly realising I'm not 100% sure that my sister ever liked High School Musical.
Maybe not as much as I do.
I think she had a pillow with it on it, and I sort of vaguely remember being like, why do you have that pillow? And she was like, I don't know, someone bought it for me, I don't like the films. So...
that's awkward.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll be bonding with her over this then.
I'm hoping that I won't like it. There's a part of me that just hopes that I come out of it and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I don't mind if I'm like, oh, it's alright.
Yeah.
I can accept that. I just don't want to come out of it and be like, I love High School Musical.
So, here's what worries me, and this is why I wanted to ask these questions now, is I don't want you or our listeners
I'm not going to jade myself before it, Liam. I'm going to go in with an open mind.
Okay, but also for our listeners, like, if you haven't seen this movie, I completely understand that you will have preconceptions about it, but try and just shake those off and just try and enjoy yourself. Sound fair?
Yeah.
Cool. That's...
Am I allowed to be drunk while we watch it?
Of course.
That'll make me like it more, I think.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, so the only potential downside to watching it together is it's going to be real fucking hard for me to not sing.
You're not allowed to sing along. I'm not watching it with you if you sing along. The moment you start singing along, I'm leaving the room.
What if I dance?
Because you'll ruin it. I've heard your singing, friend.
Oh, it's not good.
No, exactly. You can dance. I don't want you to dance in my eye line.
I watched Grease with a friend, and I sang along for the entirety of it, and they hate that movie now. It was the first time they'd ever seen it.
Yeah, that's
I ruined Grease for them. And I'm not being funny. Grease is a 5-star film. The fact that I could ruin that,
it's good.
It's in my top 5 of all time.
See, this is one of the reasons that I don't think I will like High School Musical, even if I don't go in jaded.
I'm going to be honest with you, Jack.
I love Grease.
I'm going to be honest with you up front. High School Musical is not a 5-star film.
See, that doesn't bode well.
I'm just saying, it's not. I'm not going to say what it is, because we'll get there next week, but it's not a 5-star film.
Isn't it?
Huh?
It's just going to be a 4 or a 4.5.
We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
No, if we know.
We'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
But yeah, I won't sing.
Good.
I might bop along.
That's fine. You can bop, so long as it's not distracting.
Can I bop to the top?
Is that a reference?
Us High School Musical fans, we know. And Jack, soon, you'll know too.
We'll see.
Yeah. The other good thing, if you come tomorrow and watch it, is that's going to force Kat to watch it too. and she's been adamantly refusing to, and 2 against 1, she won't be able to refuse, or she'll go to bed. Snowpiercer. So, this was your recommendation this week.
I don't think it matters who recommends these things.
I want the listeners to know.
Yeah, because you're arrogant.
If they liked something, and I recommended it, I want them to know that they liked it because of me. Now, right, okay. If they didn't like it...
That's when, if you do a bad suggestion, that's when you're like, yeah, so we suggested.
Yeah. But that's yet to happen. Although, there was one thing that you didn't like that I suggested.
I don't remember, yeah, sure.
It was Christmas Evil.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That
wasn't festive enough for you.
No. Anyway, don't get distracted.
Sorry, it's too late.
Snowpiercer. Thoughts?
So, just to warn listeners, obviously we're going to get into spoilers here.
Yep.
So, if you haven't seen the film, and you want to, might be a good time to stop listening for a bit.
Yep.
But, don't forget, you can tweet us at nerdonnerd, or email us, nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com, with all your thoughts and stuff. So now that's out of the way. We got rid of those that aren't dedicated enough to actually do what we ask them to.
Jesus Christ. Right.
Snowpiercer. Immediate thoughts. So I went through a journey with this film, much like the film itself goes on a journey.
Oh, brilliantly.
Thank you. I started off not really liking it, and then I carried on not really liking it, and then I got to a point where I was like, actually, it's not too bad. That was interesting. I'm pleased they did that. My exact thought was, thank fuck they did that. And then we carried on thinking, yeah, it's okay. And then we got to another point, and we thought, actually, I liked that. That wasn't too bad what they did there.
Can I take a stab at where some of those points were?
Go for it.
I'm assuming that the Gilliam scene, the where you find out the truth about Gilliam, is one of those points. I'm hoping it's not the first one where you went, thank fuck they did that.
No.
Because that is quite far in the film.
No, that was really neither of those points.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I liked that.
I liked it, but I was already kind of on board with the movie by the time we got to that point.
Is it the okay, I'm going to take another stab.
Okay.
Is it the scene where they have the big fight with the guys wearing balaclavas?
Nope.
I love that scene.
I mean...
Not particularly because it fits the story, or like not a story-wise thing. I think that scene is badass.
In what way?
I just love the fight scene. I think it's a really good fight scene.
So that scene, I was still not really on board, if you will.
Okay.
Because it's a train.
Very good. What was the first turning point for you?
When, and again, spoilers. When
we've done that, don't worry about it.
When no, this is a big spoiler though.
Don't worry about it.
All right, when Mason gets shot.
Which one's Mason?
Tilda Swinton.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Now, Tilda Swinton is one of the few actresses who I don't really like. Like, it's not that I don't like her as a person. I just haven't really liked her in any of the films she's ever been in.
Okay.
So her being in the film, I don't know why. You know how like some people just kind of rile you up the wrong way?
Yeah.
Like she's like one of those for me. I can't like. There's no logical like. Here's a good reason why. I just don't gel with her.
But surely is that not a good thing for what she does in this film?
No, I get that. I get that.
Meant to.
Yeah. But when she got shot was when I had that. Well, thank fuck for that moment.
Okay.
Because also like, so Chris Evans, who's the main character, plays a guy called Curtis. He's the one that shoots her. And I also think that him doing that is a kind of turning point for his character, because if you were going down the typical hero sort of route,
yeah, he'd have dragged her along the whole film.
Yeah, exactly. Or he wouldn't have been the one to pull the trigger himself, but she might have still got shot. So that was the first turning point for me. So everything up until that point, I was a bit indifferent to. Like I veered from like not really liking it to just not really caring about it, and then I was like, oh, that's not too bad. It's interesting. So from that point on, they're moving through the train. And then the next turning point was actually, I like this now, was when he was sat outside the gate with the Korean guy. I can't remember his name. You're going to have to help me out with that one.
The character name?
Yeah.
It's Namgoong Minsu?
Okay.
I'm not sure how to pronounce that properly.
Alright, so they're having a discussion, and you're finding out about his backstory.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I like what they're doing now.
Yeah, because the whole the whole thing, you're sort of thinking he's the good guy hero, right?
Yes, exactly.
Then, so the bits you like are the bits where you sort of realise he's not necessarily.
Yeah, as I'm sure I've said before on this podcast, my favourite thing for a film to do is surprise me.
Yeah.
And those were the two moments where I guess I was most surprised.
Yeah, yeah. See, one of the things that I liked about this film as well is the way it like there's stuff that it sets up early in the film.
Yeah.
Which I can see why you at the start weren't as interested.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to remember the first time I watched it, and I sort of vaguely remember it being like that, sort of watching it and being like, I
think
like, okay,
the thing is,
it's a train, I get it.
Yeah, it's not that it necessarily starts off slowly or anything, and I think that's almost...
I mean, to be fair, there is a fair amount of setup.
No, I would almost disagree. I would say there's not enough. Because, yeah, to me it felt like within the first, say, 10 minutes, they're revolting, pretty much.
I don't think that's in the first 10 minutes, is it?
It felt a lot quicker.
No, because you get the first... No. The first 10 minutes, you get one guy rebelling, and you see the...
Oh, he gets his arm frozen off, yeah.
And then you get, like, another 10 minutes where Curtis is...
right, so
like,
yeah.
telling people to be patient, and he's like, we're going to do it soon, but you've got to wait.
Yeah, so, okay, let me explain what I mean, then.
Go on.
The problem is, so, like you said, you have the guy who gets his arm frozen off. I hadn't invested in any of the characters to care when that was happening. So that's where I was like, oh, this is just, come on, get to the point. And then, again, you've got him setting up what he's doing, and you're like, right, again, I'm still not invested, so I don't really care. Can you just hurry up and either do it, or give me, like, some characterization for why I should care? Because it feels like, at the beginning of the film, the most amount of characterization you get is, oh, they like kids, so they've got to be the good guys because they're nice to these kids.
No, I think at the way you, like, at the start side with them, is the fact that it's not also they're being oppressed. Kids, it's the fact that the higher ups, the like higher class people, come and basically freeze off a dude's arm because he threw a shoe, and then she says to them, "You've got to know your place. You guys are the shoe. Be shoes." Yeah,
and she makes.
I think that's the bit, Liam. I think most people were like, these guys are the good guys. They like kids.
She makes a very valid point when she puts a shoe on her head and says, "Look, the shoes belong on heads." No, they don't.
Yeah, I love the weird stuff like that in this film.
Oh yeah, there is definitely a few things that are odd in this film.
But it's great. I honestly, it really, like, the fact that everyone above, like, anyone, because basically the train is set up to be, if you had a, like, lower class,
it's the class structure, basically. Yeah. You've got the lower class at the tail end, then you get to the middle class, and it's like kids being taught sort of, well, I guess not really taught, but like propaganded.
Indoctrinated.
Yeah, that's the one. And then you've got the upper class more towards the front of the train.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, that is an interesting idea, an interesting setup. Yeah, like I said, I really struggled with the beginning, like the opening act, to kind of find any of the characters.
I can see why, but seeing it this second time, right? Honestly, I love that beginning bit now.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's because I think there's not a lot of stuff. Like, I'm not going to try and make the film seem cleverer than it is.
No.
But I think there is a fair amount that when you go back and watch it, you're like, oh, because I know this is because I know that this is what this is.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of more interesting, or not more interesting, but you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I do imagine, like with Preacher, if you go back and read the earlier stuff, there's little kind of tidbits for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess, like a basic, real quick plot synopsis for people, just in case they saw it a while ago and need to just have their memories refreshed. It's basically Chris Evans leads the lower class people into a revolt, and they're all stuck on this train. The world has kind of frozen because of global warming. No.
Oh, Liam.
Well,
the world is frozen because humanity went to war.
Is that why?
And they released a toxic gas into the air.
I thought there was a... Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Got ya.
They released, like, something C67 or something.
Yeah, something weird like that.
Yeah, and it blocks out the sun, effectively, and starts an ice age.
Okay, so the world has frozen. So they're all stuck on this self-supporting, self-sufficient, self-running train. And they've never gone kind of beyond the carriage that they're confined to, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, the tail end people don't get to leave the tail end of the train.
Exactly.
Which is probably, there's probably a fair few carriages in that tail section. But not very many.
But probably not many, yeah. Not enough.
No, because that's one of the issues, is he says there's no space.
Yeah. I quite liked the bit where they were going through the train and you were seeing all different carriages. Like, there's a fucking aquarium in one bit.
Yeah. That's one of the interesting things, is seeing...
Yeah,
all these different things that they have in this train. The train is giant.
Yeah, and I almost wanted more kind of carriages that were just weird and wonderful like that.
Because it does feel a few of them are just sort of thrown in, and you're like, nothing really happens in them. Or
yeah, there's like a few that are like, oh, it's a nightclub in a train. Blah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, one of the things that I really didn't like was the bit where he slipped on a fish.
Yeah.
That, to me, and that kind of is... I don't know if it's kind of part of that fight scene that you're talking about, that you said you really liked.
I'm trying to remember. I can't specifically remember him slipping on a fish, but I would assume so, because that scene starts with them...
Yeah, that fish that they got, he slips on.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Why is that ridiculous, though?
It just felt really, like, slapsticky and out of place.
I don't think it was an attempt at humour, though.
No, it just seems like he could have easily just slipped on some blood or something. Like, it didn't have to be a fish, or like a dead body.
Okay.
Just weird. Also, there's a couple of bits of dialogue that was just really clunky in the way it tried to do its exposition.
Go on.
Right, the most obvious example that really stuck out when I was watching it is a guy starts smoking a cigarette, and one of the characters goes, oh, that's a cigarette! They've been extinct for 10 years! And it's like, right, we could have got that just from everyone's reaction when he pulled out the cigarette. We didn't need that bit of dialogue. It just felt really like... I don't know, like I would say most of the movie is quite smartly scripted, but there's a couple of bits here and there where it was almost like, oh, hang on, we need to throw this line in just for the real dumb idiots to make sure they're up to speed.
I don't know, man. I feel like you're nitpicking with that.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%, but also this was in the part of the film that I just wasn't really vibing on anyway. So
yeah, because for me that scene was not nothing, but like that line of dialogue didn't jar with me. But I guess if you're already in the mindset where you're like, I'm not particularly into this yet.
Yeah.
And I see that stuff like that would stand out more.
I have to admit, just getting to watch this movie was a bloody mission for me. Absolutely. So, for those that don't know, in the UK, this film hasn't had like a DVD or Blu-ray release, which I wasn't aware of. So, I went to eBay, as you do, and I found what looked like a nice steelbook of the film. And, you know, I'll be honest, I like my steelbooks. So I ordered it. And we're actually recording this podcast a couple of days late, because we were going to record it on Monday, and I was going to watch the film before we recorded, and I put it in. The film opens with, like, sort of credits, and I was like, oh, okay, so the credits are in Spanish. I can live with that. But then the film opens with a title card, which was all in Spanish. So, like, cool, now I don't know the setup of the film. So I stopped, I looked online, and I saw on Amazon someone saying, don't buy this. It has subtitles, but they're only in Spanish, and you can't switch it to English. Like, the audio's in English, but none of the subtitles are. And helpfully...
Why had you not read this before, though?
Because I ordered it on eBay, not Amazon.
Right.
Okay?
Are you...
So...
I find it hard to believe that either the person didn't say that anywhere in the post.
They honestly didn't. They didn't.
Right. Well, then, I don't believe that their reviews can have been that high for their account.
I need to check.
If they do dodgy shit like that, I'd imagine that people aren't 5-starring them.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming the eBay person. 100%. I'm have checked. You. Yeah, I should have checked. Cool. But I didn't know that it was so hard to find in UK. What I ended up having to do was import an Australian version of the Blu-ray to get the UK subtitles. Now, we were having a discussion about this, and you were saying that the subtitles didn't really matter. I would say...
No. I didn't say they didn't matter. I said there's only 2 or 3 scenes that actually require the subtitles.
Yeah, but here's the thing. One of my favourite scenes where my opinion turned around was a scene that required subtitles.
Yeah. I didn't say they don't matter. I said that those scenes, there's only a few of.
Yeah, but I'm just also...
Because when you were saying it, when you said, oh, you know, this review guy is saying don't get it because the subtitles are wrong.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you can find them online. And you were like, you could have easily watched the one you had. It would have been more difficult, and I wouldn't have suggested it.
Yeah.
But you could have watched that one you had and just gone online
and looked at the subtitles.
Yeah, because I literally had, while you were saying it, I was googling it to like try and help you.
Yeah, no, I know.
I found there's like I didn't suggest it because I know you wouldn't have wanted to do it, and I wouldn't have wanted you to do it either. But I'm just saying.
Like, don't get me wrong.
There were a lot of sites where people were like, "These are the scenes."
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm pleased I found the Australian edition and got to watch it right. Like, I think it would have detracted from my enjoyment if I'd have been faffing around with subtitles and stuff. Yeah. My point more is, why the hell has it not had a UK release? Because it's not like a terrible movie or anything.
No, I don't understand that either. It's weird.
Yeah. Like I think the issue is I didn't really know that it hadn't got a UK release, so I also, like, in my defence, I wasn't looking to... I didn't even know there were subtitles.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah.
So I wasn't checking the eBay posting to see if it said anything about subtitles or anything, because I thought it was an English film. But it's not.
That's fair. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's fair.
But it's a Korean director, I believe.
Yes, a South Korean director?
Yeah.
Director, right?
Yeah,
but he made an English language film.
Yes. Which is... I looked up afterwards and I realised I had seen one of his previous films, which was South Korean, called The Host, which isn't bad. It's kind of like a, monster movie, so you know what to expect. But yeah, this is better than The Host, I would say. Interesting casting choices in some places, I thought, and then other places quite predictable.
Yeah.
So, like, Ed Harris as the guy that is kind of, like, running the whole show, if you will.
Wilford.
Yeah. To me... that just felt a bit like he was kind of, we've seen him in that sort of role before.
Yeah.
With The Truman Show.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of like behind the scenes, but, manipulating everything.
That's not I don't know. This is another one of those things with you that I don't understand.
It just felt a bit like...
Like, I get that you like movies surprising you, Liam, but the universe can't just make films where they don't do normal things because they're worried that they're going to not attract you. You get what I mean?
I know.
I don't think you can judge them based on it either.
That's the other thing. This is why it's so weird, if you will. I like movies, because movies make their bread and butter by repeating what works. Yeah. So I think that's why, for me particularly, because I do watch maybe more movies than the average person, I have got to that point now where I crave... that
but that's fine.
Surprise.
You can crave that stuff. But like, I crave cool science fiction things, and I really like really well done like fight scenes.
Yeah, but
if they do a regular fight scene, I don't go, man, I can't believe that wasn't a crazy fight scene. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but okay. So let's say you're watching a movie that has cool crazy fight scenes in it, and then they just do a normal fight scene. You'd be like, well, why wasn't there another crazy fight scene there?
Chris Evans as the main character isn't a particularly surprising choice.
Yeah, but like...
So what I don't get what you're saying.
No, he is a surprising choice.
The whole fight scene was... if all of the film was crazy fight scenes, but Chris Evans isn't...
Chris Evans 100% is a surprising choice. So I was reading about this film afterwards, right? Yeah. And Chris Evans approached a director to be in it, and the director at first didn't want him in it because of Chris Evans' physique, because he's quite buff. This would have been after the first Captain America came out, so he already had a Captain America body, right?
Yeah.
They were saying it wouldn't make sense for his physique to have been basically starving in the tail end, which is why they've dressed him with lots of heavy clothing and deliberately framed him in ways that you don't see his muscles at all. So I would say Chris Evans is a surprising choice.
Right, you're saying that now after you've watched the film and had the director explain to you why he wouldn't have picked Chris Evans.
Also, I found out
when you first see Chris Evans as the main character, you weren't sitting there going, "Holy shit, this is insane! I can't believe it."
Well, that's because one of the few things I knew about this film.
Tilda Swinton's in it as a crazy lady. What is this film?
Also, Jamie Bell, his character called Edgar. Did you know that's a homage to Edgar Wright?
Oh, is it?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. I also
trying to distract everyone from the fact that you made a weird point that was insane.
No, people are free to decide if my point was fine and yours was nonsensical.
Let me just, before we do that, because sometimes I feel like stuff that we say can get, miscommunicated.
Yep.
I just want to clarify to the listeners that your point was that one of the issues you had was that some of the characters were surprisingly cast.
Yeah.
But others weren't.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's fair enough. And that's
just,
the point worth mentioning.
Here's the thing, right? With a character like Wilford, I always find this in films like this. When I'm watching it, I always start thinking, because he doesn't really get revealed until like the last act of the film.
Yeah.
And you spend the film and you're like, right, I wonder. I don't know if it's just me. It might just be me. But I'm like, I wonder who they've cast in this role.
And well, it might not just be you, but I definitely don't think like that.
Yeah, and you start thinking like, what would be an interesting casting choice,
Right, okay. It's the fact that you're a movie student.
Yeah, when you see Ed Harris, you're like, well, that wasn't interesting. Like, it could have been more interesting.
Liam, it could have been fucking anyone. It could have been Danny DeVito, and it would have been surprising. But I'm glad they fucking didn't.
That would have been so good, though.
Do you see the issue with your logic now?
That would have been so good.
Like, that would have been shocking, but it wouldn't have been good. You'd have been like, what the fuck is this?
Did you know...
Danny DeVito Wilford.
Did you know that Tilda Swinton's character was initially written with John C. Reilly in mind?
I can see that. He's done roles like that before.
Yeah. And apparently, according to the trivia on IMDb, the director intentionally left lines of Mason being referred to in the masculine form, because obviously he wrote it like that.
Yeah, but
that sort of stuff I thought it was interesting
for future films. I mean, people are called, like, the one that springs to mind is they call her Sir a lot.
So when has
But in the military and stuff, they do call higher ups Sir, even if they're female.
When has John C. Reilly, who we might know for his lovable portrayal of Ralph in Wreck-It Ralph, or the other film that springs to mind for me is Step Brothers, or Magnolia. When has he ever played a role like Mason? Because you said he's done it before.
Yeah.
In what?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Who's he in that?
Isn't he the one of the prison guards?
Is he?
I think so.
You might be right. I don't remember him. Is it like a small role?
Yeah, he's not in it for very long.
Right, okay.
But that was after anyway. But I get what you're saying. I was just saying it to be pretentious, Liam.
Oh, well, fair enough then.
But it's alright because you've already made an insane point, so I think I'll get away with it.
No, yeah, probably be fine.
So can we stop fixating on your weird need for actors to be cast as like surprises?
Yeah, totally.
Talk about the fucking film.
Yeah. Go on then.
Right.
Because you got a really good point to follow this up with.
I'm not used to you saying yes to me.
Well, you know.
Like, this film, right?
Yes.
There's things about it, because I've done a lot of, like, defending the film and being like, even though you liked the film in the end.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of like, oh, you're wrong, Liam.
It probably took me a good half of the film before I started even remotely liking it.
Because one of my issues with this film, right?
Yeah.
Is the end.
That's interesting.
Because the whole time...
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's fighting for, like, freedom and shit. I mean, it's not an issue, because I like it. Yeah. I like it, but it's a, like... They've not they fucked up. I don't know how to describe what I'm thinking here.
I will say, like, while I did like the final act, the end of the movie, like the last maybe 2 minutes, I could have done without.
Yeah. See, that's weird, because basically the last 2 minutes are a girl called Yonya, who is the security dude's daughter.
Yep.
Who also we find out is clairvoyant for some reason, which that bit I find unnecessary.
Not true.
Was it not?
Nope. So apparently, that what that was supposed to be trying to get at, but I agree it failed, is that train babies are supposed to have better hearing. So it's not that she's clairvoyant; she could just hear.
Why would train babies have better hearing?
I honestly don't know. It was just one of the
that's the opposite,
things.
Surely, because they're on a train that makes noise.
Yeah. No, but well, maybe not like
that's
better,
what he said.
Better hearing.
That sort of sounds to me like he's trying to get out of the fact that he added clairvoyance.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's like what people say afterwards when people are like, it's weird that you added clairvoyance, and they go, shit, he's right, it is so, I added clairvoyance. Train babies can hear better?
So, from the IMDb trivia, okay, according to the filmmakers, train babies like Yonya developed animalistic hearing skills.
That's such a non-explanation on their part.
And also, I feel like, sure, the filmmakers might turn around and say that, but there's not really evidence for that in the film.
No, yeah, there's no point in the film where you go, oh, Yonya can hear things, and there are definitely points in the film where you go, Yonya is clairvoyant. Yeah,
well, like Chris Evans' character actually says...
Literally goes, are you clairvoyant?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I felt was unnecessary, the clairvoyance.
Yep.
But, so the end, where effectively Curtis ends up... Well, not really Curtis, it's more Namgoong, who kills everyone.
Yeah.
Including nearly his daughter.
Yeah.
And which is weird. I didn't... Like, because... Whilst I'm not into the whole, like, oh, who are they casting and stuff, I do, especially on a second watching of a film, I'm like, were they trying to say anything, but I sort of, I'm not sitting there the whole time being like, what's the message here?
Well, I think this one is pretty obvious with the message about the whole kind of class system and, you know...
Yeah, but
staying in your place.
Liam? Because when you actually think about it, right... The actual message is like the class system is wrong, right?
Yes, yeah.
Like it shouldn't be like that,
and you shouldn't be forced to stay in your place.
But also, the message you could take from it as well, because this is the other thing: is I'm like, I get the message they're trying to say,
yeah.
But when you take the film as a whole, like, what other message can you read into it?
Yeah.
And if you look at it as at the end, Curtis and Namgoong kill everyone.
Yeah.
The message is, whilst the class system is wrong, don't fucking rebel.
Yeah, because it's there for a reason.
Yeah, and then everyone dies. Like, it sort of turns out Wilford's right.
No, definitely.
Which is weird.
That's one of the things that I found interesting, because it 100% is he is right. Like, even though... So what you find out at the end is Wilfred has basically orchestrated it. So previous revolts that have happened, and even this one, he's well aware of them happening, and he's helping encourage them to an extent.
Yeah, he not in that, he effectively starts them.
Yeah, exactly.
Him and one of the tail enders.
Yeah.
The sort of leader of them.
Yeah.
They work together. They are friends.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about how kind of it's a very fragile ecosystem almost. And so if some of the higher ups die, then some of the lowers have to die as well to balance it all out.
Not even just that. It's just the fact that there's too many to support.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he says, you've got to keep it in back. Like he says, you can't leave it to natural selection.
Yeah, because we'd get crowded and starved.
Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's also as well. It's the whole because it's difficult because it could easily be him the director being like, it's wrong to try and control these ecosystems, or it's wrong to treat everything like it's an engine, because that is what Wilfred's like. To him, the train is everything, and everything should function like the train. It should be a machine, and it should work efficiently.
Yeah.
And you could see that the director could either be saying, that's wrong, look what happens, all these people suffer, but he could also be saying it's right because everything goes tits up anyway.
Well, right. So I think what the director is actually saying is basically this train is representing certain parts of the world where, so we're quite lucky in that where we live, the lower class people aren't exactly suffering to the extent of those on the train were.
I think some of our lower class people would disagree with you there, Liam, but okay.
I mean, they're not forced into cannibalism.
No, but not many people in the world are.
No. But if you look at where the director comes from, okay,
South Korea,
yeah, which has is still recovering from a pretty terrible civil war.
Yeah, South Korea's doing pretty okay for itself, mate.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Considering they only got kind of freedom into Western entertainment, if you will, in I think the mid to late 90s.
Yep, and already they are a huge economy in the world, and a lot of our electronics manufacturing comes directly from South Korea. A lot of oil production comes from South Korea.
But you don't think there's still a disparity in the class system?
I can imagine it's a lot fresher in their mind, but I don't think they could. I don't think that he was saying we're the tailenders.
No, I don't think he's saying all of us. I think that's what he said. The whole thing is looking at how the way society works is it requires all of these different class systems to be in place. So obviously, yes, you've got the upper ones who are leading the train, but you still have the lower ones as well who have to kind of. I guess one of the messages of this film is they kind of should know their place.
See, but this is where I disagree with you.
Okay.
Because I enjoy reading those things into it.
Yeah.
But I also think the message is that isn't what it should be.
Yeah, but like you said, it could be either.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So we can't say his message was this, because it could very easily be the exact opposite message.
Yeah, but I think so. What I thought you were saying was if you don't take the film as what is the message, but just look at it as what is it talking about? It is talking about
the class system, yeah.
Yeah, and that disparity between them as well.
Yeah.
But like you said,
the actual what is the answer to it is a lot less clear.
Yeah, and very deliberately so, I think.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because I think he's kind of presenting you saying, look, this is kind of a potential outcome. If the lower class revolted, everyone dies. We need some sort of hierarchy in place.
No, see, but then you're adding the extra bit that I don't agree with you on.
But that's what I'm saying. That's
because I don't think that end scene is him saying, if this happens, this happens.
Oh,
I think the whole film, basically, I think the message of the film is up until him sitting at the door.
Yeah.
I think Curtis sitting at the door is the end of the message of this movie.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think it's because that's when he gets the choice, right? Namgoon goes, it's a lie, we can just leave this train.
Yeah, but it's not until...
That's where I think it ends. That's where I think the, message is. It's you could, there's this whole... The class system is flawed, which it is.
Yes.
And he gets to the end, and then he's presented with a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the message ends there, and then instead it is and then we have to end the actual film.
I disagree. I think the message almost doesn't even start until he goes through that door and meets Ed Harris's character and starts learning more about how the train is run. I think that's when the real message actually kicks in.
But then if you say that, then surely we have to accept that the message is that the class system is wrong, because Ed Harris lies to him and like it reveals that the class system is evil and flawed because it uses children from the lower class to run the train.
No, yeah, 100%.
And then the final message is people leaving the train and it being like, guess what? You could have left this train all along. All along.
But that's what I'm saying. It 100% is that the class system is flawed and there are parts of it that do not work. But also, because of that, it does keep the peace for however long that train's been running for. Like, you can't have one without the other. Like, if you didn't have those evil things going on, the train wouldn't be able to operate, so people would all still die.
It's upsetting me, because I agree with you up to a certain point, and then you carry on talking, and then I disagree with you, and I really don't want to disagree with you all the time.
No, I think it's fair enough. I'm just saying, I get
what you're saying, but then also, but the fact that they leave, right?
Yeah.
Because surely the idea of that train, the actual, like, so, assumedly, at the point of this apocalypse happening,
yeah,
everyone gets on this train, and Wilford's like, right, I'm saving humanity, right?
Yes.
And he goes, okay, so to get it to work, I've got to do this class system, whatever. He does that, and it works.
Yeah.
But then he ignores the people that say to him, okay, we can leave, like, we can leave now. This is... So Wilford is just like, everything needs to be on this train, and it's all the train.
Yeah, I mean...
And Nam-Goon is like, we can leave this train. This train isn't everything anymore. It was, but it isn't.
But he's the only one that's even thought of that, because he wasn't even the tail end.
But Wilford wouldn't consider it.
No, definitely not. And I think, for me, the way I'm reading that is, it's risk versus the same, you know? It's entirely... Okay. Right, you're not going to like this, okay?
Got you.
But it's entirely like the EU referendum, where it's you could keep things going as they are and know that things could carry on, or take a huge risk and things could either be better or worse.
Okay.
Do you see? Yeah. That's as political as I want to get it.
Interestingly, another message you could take from this film, which I thought about, and I don't think it's the message anyone was trying to portray.
Yeah.
I hope it wasn't anyway.
Don't eat babies.
All the Koreans are super smart, and every other race on the train is a fool.
Possibly.
Because the only two characters, one character that survives is a Korean.
Yep.
And the other Korean that is like a main character is like, we could just leave, and is right.
Yeah.
But then another message you could take, Liam, is that all Koreans are drug addicts.
Not true. Because it's revealed...
No, it's not true.
No, I'm saying it's not true that you could take that message away, because it's revealed that they don't want it for the drugs. They want it to build the bomb.
No, incorrect, Liam. You're wrong. He doesn't say, I've never been doing it for the drugs. He says, whilst I am addicted to these drugs will also solve the problem.
Yeah.
Him and his daughter have been getting fucking high for the whole film.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, they're not like... Because, I like that scene where you find out that the drug that they've been taking also works as an explosive.
Yeah, and he does call Chris Evans' character like an idiot.
He's been saving it.
Yeah.
But he also has been getting high.
Yeah, that is true.
That's like finding out heroin cures cancer and heroin addicts being like, hey, we were right.
Yeah, but that's probably not a message to take.
Very confusing in this film.
Yeah, and I think some of the better films do have multiple messages you could take away. And I think the other thing to bear in mind when you watch a film like this is if people take away different messages, it's because they're bringing different perspectives to it.
Yeah.
So even if the director is like, right, I made this film, and its only purpose is to basically talk about how bad nuclear war could be, and it would cause the end of the world. Like,
people
doesn't matter.
Find messages that fit there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if that was the director's purpose. If that doesn't come across properly in the film, and you take away something else, that's still entirely valid.
Oh yeah, no, I do agree.
Yeah, because I think even sometimes directors who are trying to make a film with a point, that can get lost.
Yes, and there's also directors that have been like, I wasn't trying to make a point.
Yeah.
But then their film ends up being like a prime example for the point they definitely weren't making.
And not only that, but I think also with some directors, they could make a film when they're younger, and it's not until they're older that they look back at it and they go, oh, I maybe wasn't deliberately, consciously trying to make the point then, but I can see that point being in the film.
Yeah.
So, like, I agree that we shouldn't get too bogged down in what the message is, but because we didn't necessarily see eye to eye on the message, it's still interesting to discuss, and both are still valid.
So yeah, it's because you're high class, so you were like,
I was
to have the class system to work.
I was 100%.
And me being slightly lower class, I'm like, we need to fight the system. I
mean,
get you.
You're the one that lives in the posh, fancy London.
Yeah, I'm the one that lives in posh, fancy London.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is. I don't live in a 3-bedroom flat with barely enough space to do anything, and you don't live in a nice country house with a fucking pond.
No, I mean,
you're right. I'm the high class one. Yes.
Yeah. I would also say that while the film using using the film as a language, if you will, right? And I know that sounds really pretentious, but just hear me out.
It does, but go on.
The film does present Ed Harris's character Wilfred as the villain, like, I'd say visually. Like, when you get to him, right, when the story finally gets to him, he is portrayed as the villain, and also because we're following Curtis's perspective.
Yeah.
But you could 100%, if you ignore everything up until that point and just look at it from the final act onwards as two characters talking without having seen the rest of the film, you could 100% see Curtis as the villain and Ed Harris as the good guy.
Up until a point, yeah.
What's that point?
The point where you find out that he's using children to run the train.
Okay, but I guess this leads into something...
And the point where he gets Gillian shot. Or no, not even that. The point where he rings the guy in the tail end and says, kill 74% of them.
Yes.
And the guy starts shooting people and they scream down the phone.
But this leads to that question.
I don't think anyone would watch that and go, Curtis could be the bad guy.
No, this does lead to the... think about how many people Curtis killed to get to there. And also that is why he then needed to kill that however many percent to even it out. Like, you could 100% put that on Curtis's shoulders.
Yeah, but you wouldn't go, Curtis is the bad guy. I agree with you. You can 100% go, it's Curtis's fault.
Yeah.
But there's never... I don't think anyone in human history has killed a mass amount of people to balance something out, and people have gone, yeah, good decision.
Do you think that what Wilfred was doing was right or wrong? Like, should he have been keeping that many people alive at the cost of a few children, or should he have let everyone die, including the children?
The issue is we don't know when the parts in the front broke down, because I don't think he specifically says, and we don't really get a time frame, so we can't know if the outside was
no.
safe or not.
But let's say you're presented in this. Let's say, because we follow Curtis through this journey, okay? So with the information,
okay, so if I put myself in Curtis's shoes,
with the information he has at that point, yeah,
I'd say no, I don't take it.
Okay,
I'm gonna take the risk with Namgoon.
So you would risk everyone and try and get out and hope that.
Oh no, I wouldn't risk everyone. I'd go out with Namgoon. If I die, carry on, Wilfred. Don't matter to you. You just find someone else.
How are you going to get out without risking everyone? Because surely by blowing a hole through the train...
That's Namgoon's plan, but we know that 7 people, from the film, we know that 7 people escaped the train and didn't kill the whole train.
Yeah, okay.
And assumedly, there are people in that tail section that know how the 7 did it. Because it wasn't before, like, people on that train, it's not like multiple generations.
It sounded like the train doors froze over at some point, but those 7 people could have got out before the train doors froze over. Because has it ever said, like, when those 7 people got out?
What?
Right, so, timeline of events. At some point in this timeline, 7 people got out of the train, yeah?
Yes.
We don't know when, right?
No.
Also, at some point in that timeline, the door that gets you out froze over, which is why they needed to explode it open. So what I'm saying is it could be that those 7 people got out before that point in time where the door froze over. It's not actually said in the film which way that is. So we don't know if there's another way out or not. And as Curtis, in that situation, you would not have that information.
I'd blow the fuck out that door, yeah.
Okay, so you would risk everyone.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Which I think is kind of like what the film is suggesting is the heroic thing to do.
It's also proved right at the end of the film, because we see 2 people surviving in the cold.
But you wouldn't have known that at that point.
Oh, no, but I'm saying I wouldn't have known it at that point, but I would have very quickly been proved right.
Yeah, if you had have been right.
No, but you're placing it in the universe of the film, where we find out that 100% you can survive outside the train at this point in time. So I wouldn't have known, but I'd have been right.
Well, right. When you say you can survive, you can definitely get out of the train. Survival from that point on is a complete unknown, because it didn't look like there was a lot of...
that's the whole end of the film, is you see life outside the train. That's
you see a polar bear.
Scene is, Liam.
Yeah, but... Right, so you've got however many people in that train, okay, that you then have to find food for
No, I don't. What are you talking about?
Clothing.
I'm the fuck out of the train. I can go do whatever the hell I want.
Oh, okay, right. So that's if you're you.
Yeah, if I'm not the leader of everyone, because I'm Jack Kempster and I definitely can't lead anyone.
No.
I'll be honest. If I got... Liam, I'll be dead honest with you. If I got out of that train, and even if it turned out I was right? Mm-hmm. So let's say in this hypothetical world that we've created here, Liam, which we love, I blow open those train doors, I get out, Namgoong's there, all of them are there, everyone gets out, Wilford comes out, and he's like, holy shit, you were right.
Yeah.
I'm going to ride my train off, but you were right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And I'm like, that's cool, Wilford, people can go with you, it's cool. And then someone from the tail end comes up to me and they go, what do we do now, Jack? I would turn the fuck to them and I would say, are you really asking me? Because can you not see me? Do you think I am the choice to make here?
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say, my first thought when they got out of the train, because they're basically now humanity's sole chance of survival, right?
Is that humanity is not going to survive because it's going to be an inbred fuckfest for at least, 10 generations, right?
Yeah, well, not only that, but, she's got to wait 10 years for...
Oh, yeah, seriously, I don't think those two would survive.
No.
I think Timmy dies. I reckon Timmy dies.
Yeah.
Yonya, maybe she goes explores the world and has a whale of a time.
Yeah. I do think, like I said, the last 2 minutes just didn't quite work for me. And I get what they were trying to do with it. But, again, I feel like when it explodes, there's a scene where the train kind of comes off the tracks and just stops in the snow. Yeah. And I 100% would have been happy for the film to stop there. Where you don't know who survives the explosion or what happens next. I just think that would have been a much more powerful ending.
I agree.
But I'm very much a fan of those endings that leave things up in the air and don't resolve things. Whereas I know, maybe other cinema goers kind of would want more resolution than that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I prefer endings that leave it ambiguous.
Yeah, because I think we'd be having a much different discussion if it was... We would basically be discussing, was it the right thing to do or not knowing that outcome, which I think would be a lot more interesting.
Yep, that's why I like discussing stuff like that with my friend. When we see an ambiguous ending, I like having that discussion where you're like, what do you think happened?
So, Snowpiercer, what would you give out of 5?
I think I'd give it a 4.
Yeah?
Yep.
It's a pretty solid score.
Yeah.
Any reason for that?
I've watched it twice now, and I really enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy it more on the second watch?
I don't really remember the first time I watched it, because it was at uni, I think.
Okay. I mean,
it must have been close to, its release, I think.
It only came out in 2013, so it couldn't have been that long ago.
Yeah, so I think I watched it towards the end of university.
Yeah.
Possibly in that last year. Maybe even slightly after, but this time I definitely enjoyed it and thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit, that whole speech about his past was just gripping, I thought.
Yeah, that's a really good thing.
Yeah, exactly. One thing, it's not clear to me if he can speak Korean or not.
Yes, I think that might be deliberately ambiguous as well.
Okay, because a lot of they have a translating machine that they use a lot, but then there are also times when that's not being used, but he's still understanding what's being said.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's kind of... I don't know if it's deliberate, but I think it is sort of intentionally because there are scenes where he gets insulted by Namgoong.
Yeah.
And you're like... But you could easily see Curtis ignoring it because he's so dedicated to, finishing this thing.
Yeah. And I will say that there was definitely a couple of scenes that I thought... I personally had to rewind to kind of figure it out because I definitely missed it when I first watched it.
Like what?
So there's a scene, you've got a typical henchman bad guy who's almost unstoppable, right? And there's a scene where Curtis has been knocked out, he's on the floor, and the bad guy's about to stab him with a knife.
Yeah.
And another character stops him by putting his hand in front.
Yeah.
I had to rewind and watch that again to figure out what happened there because just the way it was framed, to me, it wasn't clear that what that other character was doing. So So then the next scene is he stood up and he has the knife in his hand, and I was like, wait a second, what? How did that happen? And I had to rewind to figure that out because at first I thought it was Curtis had put his hand up or something.
Oh, okay.
So that was one, and the other one was right before the door scene. In the corner of the screen, the girl, Yuna was her name.
Mm-hmm.
She faints, and then then the two characters kind of just ignore that and talk, and it goes back and she's just lying down. And I missed her fainting in the corner the first time, so all of a sudden she was lying down, and I had to rewind and be like, "Wait, what did I miss? Why is
that
she..."
when they're standing near the door?
Yeah.
She didn't faint, Liam.
What did she do?
She's tripping balls on drugs.
Oh well, whatever. She fucking collapses.
I love how innocent your mind is with all the drugs in this film.
I'm not a druggy person.
Neither am I, particularly.
No.
But I just love that. I love that your mind just doesn't even comprehend them. You're like, she's
No, I
just had a
don't.
little faint, and I don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I saw.
Fair enough. You're so innocent.
Yeah.
Go on, what's your score?
3 out of 5.
Fair enough.
Uh,
I'd suggest at some point in the future, not soon, but I'd suggest you go back and watch it again, and we see whether it changes.
It is literally just because, like, it was probably a good half of the film that I didn't really like, and then the last half of the film I did.
I'm wondering if you'll have the same thing I did, where you go back and then you're like, oh, okay.
I'd be curious what our listeners think.
Yeah.
So tell me, how could they let us know?
You can let us know by tweeting us at nerdonnerd, or writing us an email to nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com. Or I guess you could also comment on this, because it will be a YouTube video.
That's true. And how could they find us on YouTube?
Search. It's called A Fleshlight. Episode 1, Nerd on Nerd.
That'll do it. And also, if you don't
you're
mind,
on YouTube listening to this, you've already found us, so don't do that.
Yeah, but if you haven't, maybe look for us on YouTube and give us a little cheeky subscription. It'll help us out.
And we might at some point give you videos.
No, we will. We've filmed videos. I just need to edit them when I'm not editing the podcast. And don't forget, next time, High School Musical.
Yay.
So we're excited. Like, at least half of us are excited.
Yeah, 50% of the hosts are excited.
Yes. And the other 50% might be saying, I wish I'd been more excited.
Even if I enjoy it, I don't think I'll say I wish I was more excited.
No, it's annoying because you've already said that you might enjoy it, so I don't get to be like, oh, you were going to hate it. And
yeah, I think if I enjoy it, it's going to be less exciting for you, because I'll be like, yeah, I said I probably would.
Yeah, so my I think the best outcome we could possibly have for the show is that you love it. Like, if you just enjoy it and you're like, yeah, it was alright, that's going to be a boring episode. But if you fucking love it, if you're like, where has this film been all my life? I can't wait to watch the sequel and the third one. That'd be a much better show.
No, the much better show would be if we completely disagree and I despise it.
No, because I'm already anticipating that, and I'll just say, well, I told you so.
Sorry. So when you said better for the show, you meant better for you.
That is generally what makes it better for the show.
Bye!
Bye!